Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Luck-Based Degeneracy, where art is all luck-based. I am your host, Kreat-Like-Crete.
I'm the co-host.
With us tonight is a very special guest.
Yeah.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes, I am TheAmericanDream. You can just call me Clint.
And we're very happy to have you.
Thank you.
So, I wanted to get this going because a friend of mine said right before we actually started this thing, he told me that you have an affinity for the Gundam series. There you go.
I love Gundam. I enjoy that. That's already. I shouldn't be surprised. I've actually I've done multiple, at least 2 sequences that are Gundam related within my fetish stuff. I'm actually pretty close to starting up just an Instagram for like posting my toys and model kits and stuff, just like unrelated to all this stuff. But yeah, I love Gundams and robots and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, my friend, he goes by Zanza in our circle, but he's Idiotic Robot. I think that's what his other title is, but yeah, he tipped me off to that. Yeah.
Yeah,
he is. He's a good part. He's in our server, and yeah, we like casually talking about him, or casually talking with him, not about him. Yeah, behind his back.
Talking about him.
Yeah, we
all
ain't
that shit.
Shout outs to him if he ever watches this episode.
Probably will, since he gave me that tip off that Clint here enjoys Gundam. So probably watch just to hear that.
Now, am I taking? Do you speak the Gundam? Is that what you? Are we gonna turn this into a Gundam podcast?
I mean, I'm not see, Gundam was one of those series that I always enjoyed watching, but it wasn't one that I really followed very well. Because the one that I remember the most is the worst one, which isn't that. I want to say it's G Gundam, the one where they have like the tight black suits and they're like connected with the Gundams themselves. Yeah.
Street Fighter Gundam. Yeah. G Gundam is to go on that tangent, or maybe it's not even a tangent on this podcast. I guess loose formula. I will find a way to turn it back to fat chicks or cartoon drawings of fat women.
We can get back to it.
But G Gundam is like, it's great. It's actually probably the first or second one I got into because I like all the shonen tournament stuff and fighting games. So it's like, oh. This is basically just, like I said, it's basically Street Fighter with robots. It just happens to have robots.
Shit.
It's great. I mean, but yeah, admittedly, it's... You don't point... If someone's like, oh, I want to get into Gundam, you don't point them to that show, because after they watch G Gundam, there's nothing else that you can... It's like, everything else is completely not like that. Like, nothing even... It's like, it's kind of its own thing, and it hews closer to martial arts, anime, or... the really silly robot stuff, like, Gurren Lagann or something like that.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I never really was a Gundam fan all that much. It never really appealed me. But I can respect the series. It seems to be very influential.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly have gotten to a point with, like, robot anime where it's like, honestly... It is a very influential anime as far as all that stuff's concerned, but like a lot of the appeal is just I like cool robots, and I still collect and hoard plastic similar to your friend Zanza. So that is a part of it.
Yeah, he's a big fan of that stuff. He always is talking about it with us. You know what else?
It's funny because like another artist, fatty artist. Trying to think how much I can actually say about it. This person want me to be talking about them on a podcast. But another fatty artist friend of mine got into Gundam, and that kind of made me go, oh shit. Because I kind of put it down for like 5 or 6 years. I was like, I don't need to be spending all that money on these kits and toys. And I wasn't following the newer shows. A lot of the Gundams I like are older, and like my friend was getting into it, and it's like it's kind of reawoken that itch of mine. So yeah, me and Zanza have been talking about that lately. So I think I could tell he enjoys having someone to talk about with that stuff.
Cool.
And there's that overlap where I can go, hey, now that you watch Gundam, when are you going to draw this Gundam character fat? That's the sweet,
as is the
sweet
way of all
overlap.
meat.
Yeah.
Well, that's another side thing I could get into, which is I feel like there was a point, and okay, that's what I bring to this podcast is I'm old. I'm in my early 30s. That makes me very old, and so I've been around since the beginning of time. And I know that, like, at one point when the internet was still novel, like, there were like a handful of characters that got fattened up in like fetish art. Like, it was like, you know, you had to be drawing Totally Spies, or you had to be drawing like it's like whatever was on Toonami during the early to mid 2000s. Like certain characters just dictated what got drawn, and it was like request based. And it's like today, it's like it's broadened between the Japanese artists being able to communicate and Twitter and like your Tumblr and your 4chan. It's like you can find somebody who's into this stuff and like they'll want to see something really out there, and like so it's like that's kind of interesting. Where it's like I talked about Gundam, where I'm like, oh, there aren't that many Gundam fans who like this stuff, and it's like, well, there's a decent amount. It's just, you know, there's no one franchise that the community is like, oh, we all love Overwatch, fat chicks. It's like some people.
Yeah, I was about to say that you're from the period of on the internet when this actually was like a niche thing. It wasn't like the sort of business that it is now. You were there when the...
I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of crazy. There are days where I wake up and I'm like, shit has fucking changed. Like, I hate, like I said, that's the thing that dates me, but it's like, I just kind of go, I basically, it's like, getting paid to draw this stuff was not novel, but it was kind of like an exception. Like, expecting to get paid to draw, you know, this particular fetish, like the expansion fetish, was kind of like, there's only like a handful of people that spoke English that could take commissions, and like people wouldn't balk at them. Like there was a period in like 2007, 2008 where people were like, "You're charging $30 for a commission? How dare you? You know, your art's not worth that. I'm gonna get art from someone who's gonna draw it for free." And that. So there's a little more respect.
Well, actually, I would still say that. Well, there probably is more respect, I'd say, on average, but those people still exist. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been to the Chan boards. I'm well aware, but like, there's a level of which, and it's like I'm already mentioning that.
I could sense in the mouth you're saying someone you don't want like mentioned.
No, I wasn't gonna say names. It was more like I'm already not like. It's like, I want the conversation to, you know, there's got to be some foreplay where we ease in and then we eventually talk about the really dark stuff. But, like, I'm already talking about the Chan boards. It's like, I don't want it to go there so quickly. But, yeah, I don't know, there was just, like, a period where, like, people would ask for crazy stuff, and a lot of people didn't do it for money. They would just do whatever sounded cool, or, you know, it ended up being that you had, like, a handful of waifus that were like, oh, everybody draws this girl because, I don't know, that was just one of those things where, like, I'm trying to think of a character. Like, Totally Spies, because that's a cartoon that had weight gain in it, but there's, like, other characters where it's, like, Chun-Li or whatever, because she has the big thighs. You used to see characters like her all the time, and now it's like, unless you're a big Street Fighter fan, you might not actually see her getting drawn that much. It's like you said, it's way more common, and there's a lot more.
Yeah, and generally the people who get into the communities are generally younger, so they're the ones who want like the current stuff. There's not very many people who want like the classic characters who people draw all the time.
There's that too. There's a pretty wide range. I mean, now we got like people in our community jumping on the Bowsette train or whatever. So
I was not a fan of it when that happened, and I'm still not a fan of it.
There's a level of which, like, in adapting to the current, I mean, I think just what you got to do if you're doing art, like, there's this desire to want to at least try all the trends that are even mildly appealing. So it's like, you know, I do like that design or whatever. So I was like, man, I gotta draw a Bowsette, otherwise I'm you know, it's like that's gonna be this much attention, and that's just like. That does become a thing. I was just talking about that with another friend, where it's just like that pseudo pressure of like, oh, there's this new waifu that everybody's going crazy over. I should draw this character fat. Like,
that's sort of what happened with me earlier this week. I drew the. I still think I honestly, before I posted, I think I was actually the first person to make the black hole Chan fat. Like, I may not have been the first person to think it, but I think I was actually, like, I still think documented. I think I have the first picture uploaded for a fat black hole Chan. Yeah. Exactly.
And there's, see, there, I think that's why I've personally come to enjoy getting into the obscure stuff. So it's like, with Gundam, I'll draw some character that doesn't even have like a quality figure from 1986, and I'll be like, I'm the first person to draw this character fat, because who the fuck draws this character? You know, there's kind of a bit of a badge of honor of like, oh, this character's this is new territory.
Even though it didn't have nearly the explosive, not nearly the explosive rise that I had slightly given a shred of naivete to, where I was like, maybe this will work. Maybe I'll get a little bit of a boost here. And it was a slight boost, but it wasn't nearly as big as I expected it to be.
Me and my friend that I was talking about the trend thing with, we kind of came to the conclusion where, like, you almost need to, like, set aside, like, if you're serious about this, and I'm somebody that does make a fair amount of income or whatever with this stuff, and it's like, I pretty much I want to try to set aside time where I'm like, all right, what's popular right now, just to bring a few extra eyes. But there is this, like, you definitely don't want to be too obligated to it, because it's like, if you're even a little late, then yeah, it could just get passed up. Like, I had a friend that was like, I forgot what they were trying to, oh, Wick, the Pokemon girl. They were trying to draw Wick, because like Wick, like everybody who liked girls even remotely thick was pumping out a Wick when she was first shown off. For Pokemon Gen 7, because she's fairly thick, and yeah, I think they took a little too long to draw her, and it's like I only got like 100 likes or whatever, which I know some people who would kill for 100 likes on Twitter. So
yeah, that's just how the game goes, though, dude. Like, it's just how it is.
Yep. It's quite the hustle. Once you lose it forever.
I don't know.
And then there's also the thing of like, oh, I don't like whatever X trend is, or like it's already getting overplayed for me, and it's like, well, it's like you gotta either like do something that you think will get attention, or just, I don't know, man, sit in the corner. Like, it's like, that's just how the internet is. If we like something, we just kind of vomit it out until we're sick of it.
And then we wonder why we even thought it was cool in the first place. It's just kind of like balance.
There's gonna be an art meme landfill.
I think that just happens on a yearly basis. You know, like Bowsette will soon fall into that, and Black Hole Chan will as well.
The only reason Bowsette is still relevant is that like the summer cosplay season hasn't happened. So there's gonna still be a bunch of people cosplaying her, and like, I mean that one's basically done. That one's basically been done. But I feel like, you know, like, Nintendo is never going to acknowledge that.
Because if they did, then memes will have grown too powerful. I mean, it was powerful, though, because it raised their stocks like 2% or something in that week that it appeared.
That was crazy, yeah. Like, I've heard some people saying that maybe it was a slight coincidence, but it's still noteworthy. I will say, in maybe not in full defense or whatever, like I said, I'm mostly cool with Bowsette, but I do think it's kind of one of those, like, Nintendo, maybe you should create a bad bitch for Mario. Doesn't have to be Bowser. I really don't need it to be Bowser. I know many people like it's, but like, you know, people have wanted like a female Wario or whatever for a while. Like, so there's like there's an itch there that Nintendo should look into
making. Yeah, like
I think they know what will happen.
Like, who is like? Are there any female Nintendo villains outside of things like Metroid? Like, there aren't a lot. There's very few, and I think it's strange that they don't capitalize on that, because they've been wifey crazy lately.
But yeah, they don't generally do like the only ones I can think of are Kotake and Kume and Kotake from Legend of Zelda. Those like yeah.
So
Varen
I will
from
say
the Oracle of Ages for but yeah.
Yeah, I do feel like Zelda's kind of giving people that, but I do feel like that's like the one thing that as far as like Nintendo giving the folks who like that. I know Japan was like, we just like women with sharp teeth or whatever. That was like a thing. We like big eyebrows and sharp teeth. And I was
Looks like I'll have to remember that.
Yeah, there was like a whole thing where like, I don't know if it was like the Pixiv ambassador or somebody that was just kind of like how she checked off all their boxes for waifus, where it's like we really like thick eyebrows and we really like sharp teeth.
And if you wanna get some extra porn points in the old Nippon, then you best follow that trend, boy.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how it
But that's the other thing is like. Back in my day, we had no way of really communicating with the Japanese artists. I remember there was one time I went to a Japanese fat artist, like their website, and they had a little mini forum on their website where I could leave notes. I mean, I'm sure Pixiv was a thing, but I didn't even know about it back when like I was first getting into this stuff. So I was just like, it's in like another world, but now it's like whatever. Half of these artists follow me on Twitter now, and that's crazy.
Yeah, even for a smaller end boy like me and Absolon, just even like sometimes I just sit there while I'm drawing and think like, huh, I have almost 3,000 people who like my shit. It's kind of a crazy thing, yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's just a crazy thing to sit back and sort of think like, wow, I made a little bit of a splash here, haven't I? You know? I can only imagine what it's like on your level of things. You know?
Yep.
Honestly, a lot of it is, yeah, it's like nothing super changes. Like I'm sure if I get to a certain level, it will, like Kip, or I'm trying to think who else is like really big, but I guess not that I try not
Numbers,
to like look at like how many views does this person have. It's more like, you know, but little things that I do pay attention to. But yeah, you know, really, I'm not trying to go. I try not to go super cynical, but I'm just like a lot of it is just like you just have more people complaining and more people requesting.
Dude, I can't even imagine for you. Like on the, I assume it's like at least on the weekly basis.
I mean, especially when not as much on Twitter. It's more Tumblr. I get it on Tumblr and I get it on because like. Somehow, that's like that side tangent of somehow I didn't get nuked from Tumblr. Probably because I don't draw enough like X-rated fat stuff. But like I'm still kind of like, wow, I can't believe they didn't try to delete me off that website. But like,
try to Thanos
I used to get a I somehow survived the snap. I'm one of the 6 Avengers or whatever that survived the snap on that website. But you know. Nobody, you know, that place is a fucking ghost town now, so it's kind of just there, but I still get people asking stuff, even though I've made it kind of obvious. Like, I've kind of jump ship to Twitter, but there's some people who just, you know, I'll still get, like, a lot of asks on that, or TA.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, you kind of have to start ignoring it if they're not asking something valid, if they're not, like, trying to get a commission, if they're just like, hey... And the weirdest thing, the funniest and weirdest thing, and I want to believe you guys have probably gotten a couple of these. This is maybe more Deviantart than Twitter, but there was this period where people would just go, "Hey," or "Hi."
Trust me.
That's it. They would just like a million highs, and be like, and at some point I just like, all right, I just have to ignore these. Like if you don't have anything of any substance to say, I'm just gonna ignore you. Hi, or please check out my stuff. With, like, you know, nothing else, just like a begging to check out my stuff.
Dude, the no subject high is it's like the biggest circle of jokes, I think, maybe on the DeviantArt side of things, where people will just post hi, or a good friend of ours, Mystery Dad, shout out to Mystery Dad, he recently dealt with Twitter DMs, and one of them was, hey, can we do a trade? And I'd hate to just tell the story with him not here, but it just pretty much was, hey, can we do a trade? And then Mist responded with, oh, yeah, I only do trades with friends or any things like that. And then they said, oh, okay, can I be your friend? It's like, yeah.
Yes, there it is. There it is.
Just, it's like the most juvenile way of thinking. Like, man, how do I get in with like the big boys, or how do I get the cheapest free art possible? It's like, maybe I'll just try like emotionally manipulating them. And like as being someone who was on that end of things, I never just straight up asked somebody, hey, you won't be friends? I generally would just try and foster an actual relationship with them first, just by like getting to know them. But it's really hard to like give advice to people on that, because I know a lot of people say like, man, how do you get trades, or how do you get like in with people? And I guess just it's a tricky thing to answer, because a lot of the times it just happens where there's already like a mutual thing of, yeah, well, I like your stuff and you like my stuff, so let's try knocking something around here. Like, that's how I pretty much met Absolon, because he and I were just I just once said like, hey, you want to do a trade? And then we did one, and then we just kind of meshed from there, just as like friends. And that's really the only advice I can give to anyone watching, is like, if you want to make friends, you just gotta just try and, I generally say, art trading is like the best way. It's like the artist's version of like a handshake, like a greeting gesture. So I would say to people, just try and do like an art trade or something with them. Or if you really want, sometimes gift art. I've heard some people say like, I just drew a picture for a guy who I really appreciated. He liked it, and we just started talking from there. But if you get denied an art trade, this is also part of that. If you get denied an art trade, that generally means your art is not good enough for them to consider. So what that generally tells you is you gotta get better, and that should be incentive. If you really want to be friends with that person and you want to do it through an art trade, you gotta improve, and that's just the meat and potatoes of it,
Wait, Kreat.
What?
There's like a whole. There's like a whole. There's like another like aside with that to me, where it's like, and it's tough, because it's like I've had a friend tell me, who isn't much of an artist. They were a client, like a commission client, and they also do like some weight gain writing stuff. And so we've chatted, and we just eventually became friends or whatever. And they've told me, when you're not an artist, or if you're just not very good, or whatever, maybe you're just socially awkward, there is kind of this weird like fence of like, oh, I want to be with the cool kids. And on some level I can't relate to that, because I'm not personally chasing for approval from, and I don't think you should. It's like there's a level of which this can happen organically, or like you said, I did some gift art, or a trade. An art trade is totally good. But yeah, the other person isn't very good, and they kind of just feel like they're begging. Not only is it like you're not good enough, sometimes it can just kind of come off like you're begging for art, like, and that's not super great.
Yeah, it's generally off-putting.
And so it is tough. Like I said, there are some people who just don't have great social skills, that like, it's like this weird like, I want to be part of the popular kid club, and like, that was even weirder, I feel like, pre-Discord. Like, that was even weirder, where I'd get people where it's like, I don't know, if there was either a chat, or even like, I did a commission for this person, and like, how come you reply to their comments on DeviantArt but not mine? Like, what makes you special? And I'm just like, oh my goodness. Like, or there was like a whole other, like, is there a secret clique? Are the artists all meeting up like some weird Illuminati hive mind?
Yeah, this is it. On a on a shitty non-professional luck-based podcast.
There you go, luck-based. That's definitely part of it.
Yeah, I think it's important to mention that even if your art is good or something like that, everybody wants their like request taken. Like, you gotta admit that whenever you talk to like these guys who are bigger, you kind of want like a bigger in art and that kind of stuff. They have more followers and all that stuff. You kind of want, you're hoping that you can get with like them to a point that they'll like do a trade or, you know, something like that. I mean, we gotta like admit, in all honesty, that that's kind of like, you know, one of the reasons. It's not the main reason, I'm not saying that, but it's like, you know, that's like one of the benefits.
Yeah, no, totally.
But I think like it's important to realize that, you know, if you want that, you know, you need to like be respectful, right? Or just like it comes with like respect and respecting that, you know, people's boundaries, and that artists are people too, right? You know, you know,
because
that kind of stuff.
That's the thing. There's like weird walls that can form where like, oh, this person's art is so good, I'm gonna treat them like a god, and it's like, first of all, that's just really awkward. It makes like that just makes it awkward on both ends. Mm-hmm. Do weird stuff like that, and then it's like, oh, they didn't do a trade with me. It's a huge slight. That means they hate me and I'm trash. It's like, no, it's like,
trust me, Clint, we have dealt with that on many occasions where it's the people who say, oh, we why are you acting friends with them but not with me? And then generally the response is, because I like their stuff. Like, what, you don't like my stuff? I guess. No, I don't.
No.
I like their stuff, yeah. But it's weird, because a lot of people, yeah, they like to turn it into like a high school thing, you know? It's like a clique, like as you said.
That's what it feels like. It's so weird, and it's like, yes, there are cliques. That's just human nature on some level, but it's like, there's like this weird, like, people are conspiring against us, and they all have these giant egos, and they only like their own art, and they don't talk to me because they hate me. And it's like, no, I don't even know who the fuck you are. You're just like, you're not contributing anything. Like,
I'm gonna like tell a funny story, and this actually involves you, Clint. Not like directly, but you were kind of involved with it in like a way.
All right.
So what happened is you started like following or like liking my tweets, right? And at that time, I was like, you know, I was big fan of your stuff. So, you know, I was like, hey, yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, the American Dream's like liking my stuff. You know, that's pretty cool. So I post like a screenshot of like you say or commenting on one of my pieces, like, hey, this is pretty good. I can't remember exactly what you said, but there's this one dude in our server who has that exact mentality, and Crete knows exactly who we're talking about, you know? Luck-based. Yeah. That's where the title comes from, but he posted a gif of Reaper from Overwatch doing a slow, like, sarcastic clap as soon as I, like, posted that screenshot. So, you know, he just happened to have that mentality that all the big artists are sort of, you know, each other, and that, you know, or maybe he was at like some sort of jealousy issues.
It was definitely, exactly. It was a mix of both, actually.
I just thought it was funny. Yeah, it was kind of like a mix of both. He had this idea that, you know, all the big artists, you know, they just take a shot at the little artists, you know, and, you know, that they don't respect all the little guys, you know. That's not really the case.
What is that even, like, what does that even mean? It's like, there's we already just said that this stuff is not as niche as it used to be.
Yeah,
for me,
exactly.
It's more like I see your page, you know, and I'm like, oh wow, this guy is great, and he drew Raggio, and like it's really Raggio. Cute. And I think that was the pic that I commented on, because like, I swear I was one of the only people that, like, I think I doodled her, or like maybe I posted a sketch of her, but like she wasn't getting anywhere near the attention. She wasn't one of the two main girls or whatever. And I was like, oh shit, this is really good. And I just hadn't seen your stuff before. So I was like, for me, it's just exciting to see another artist. Like, to me, it's like, it's like, I don't know. It's like this whole clique mentality doesn't really mean shit to me. Like, there are, like I said, everybody has a level of hero. Like, oh, like, trying to think off the top of my head, like, it'd be cool to talk to Square Wave, the Japanese artist. And, and a lot of the people that I feel that way about are the Japanese artists, because I at least know most of the other English-speaking artists on some level. There's a few I don't, but I've at least spoken with most of them, and that's not a brag. That's more of a, they're human beings. I've commented and
Yeah.
commented back. It's like, but you know, it's like Squarewave has been around for so long. Like, I think they were posting pretty good art back when I was only like 19 or 20 or something. And so, like, talking to that person would be really cool. They've done a lot of really cool stuff. They're pretty popular, and you know, there is that mystique of like, oh, you know. That's like the, oh, they're from Japan. So I guess if I have my own hypocritical version of that, it's like mystifying Japanese artists because that's where the memory comes from. That's the hardcore weeb in me coming out.
It's the land
like,
of
you know,
the sun.
The minute I'd start talking to one of those artists, that would disappear. I'm sure I'd be like, oh, whatever. They're just me, but they speak Japanese.
Yeah.
It's like whatever. Like. But you know, I had a friend in Japan, and they were like, they talked about the American Dream, and I was like, you're fucking shitting me. No, that blew my mind, because I was just like, what? Like, and that's partially because I don't feel like I have an overly anime style, so it's like, I always like, oh, I don't know if they even like my art or whatever. You know, it's cool. But anyway, I get that whole idea, but like, normally, it's just like, your art looked cool, so I commented, and it's like, this guy's like, big whoop, you got handpicked because you're lucky.
There's the word.
Like,
There's the word.
What have you been doing? Like,
Yeah.
No, not handpicked. He said lucky. He said lucky.
Yeah, lucky. Yeah, it's lucky. No, like, this dude, like, legit, I remember exactly what he said. He said it was like, he didn't get the genetics good enough to do art. Or something like that. Oh man, he's like such a staple in this like sort of little circle of friends we got going on.
That is kind of hilarious. Like, okay, here's where my brain goes when I hear that. I'm like, so what is your deal? Like, do you want to be an artist and just have given up because you suck, or do you just want to be the cool kid and that's why you're jealous? Because it's like, that's the weird other thing about art. Like, and now I'm going off. I'm thinking about that because it's like, again, my non-artist friend who's in this community, and he has told me, it's like, there is a level of which, you know, being able to draw is a big deal, and it's like, that's what's so frustrating when people try to act like your art isn't worth much, but then you have all these people who are like, I'd kill to be able to draw. I want to be cool and draw. I know to draw cool people.
Yeah. The thing is, like, with this guy, I made him my friend again because I need to, like, you know, ask him some stuff about some other stuff that was happening. And I sort of, like, just, you know, kept him there. Because, you know, like, it's been a while. Maybe he's, like, changed.
He's useful to me.
No, but, like, no.
I could use
But, like,
him.
what happened is that every time he tries to talk to me, he asks me, like, yo, you got any other drawings that you, like, want to share? Like, you know, you catching up, like, it's never, like, how are you?
There
like,
it is.
Well, he asks, like, how are you? But he goes straight to the, hey, you got any, nudge with the elbows? Like, you got any work in progress pieces you could show me?
You gotta at least pretend that, you know, you're a human and they're your friend. You gotta keep up those appearances of like, hey,
gotta stretch.
Yeah. Gotta make sure the skin suit isn't like too like.
Just gotta get like that. It's like the rubber band effect as they stretch it over the reptilian skin.
Yeah.
Just like.
Oh my god.
I hope you're doing okay.
Yeah.
That kind of shit.
Yeah, but it's so true. I've had a
Work in progress pieces you want to show me.
It's like like I don't get that as much anymore because I think people just know I have a reputation of not doing that. I mean, I have a couple of friends that'll do it, but like I'm friends with them outside of that. I can hold a conversation with most of my non-artist friends that I've met online. I use that qualifier. There's stuff we can talk about video games or whatever. Like, they're not gonna immediately be like, hey man, what you drawing? like that's when I know you're not someone I really want to spend my time with. It's like, this is why you don't have any cool artist friend points, is that you kind of an asshole. Like
it's funny. It's funny because this friend that Absalon was just speaking about, he's actually the reason that we named this the luck based podcast, because he made.
Really? Okay,
yeah,
it sounded like you were alluding to it.
He posted a meme that was the Steven Crowder meme, where it's the, like, blank, 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 change my mind. And one day he made a version of that made it literally set, like, most of our circles on fire, because it was so just ludicrous. That it was a picture of him and his persona sitting at the bench, and it said, art is all luck based, change my mind. And so from then on, we have kept it as, like, a running joke that he,
Wow.
Everybody in that server, it wasn't in our server, but, like, everybody in that server just went off on him and is like, dude, like, are you serious?
That's pretty much just denying anybody who's actually.
That's exactly what we said.
Yeah.
Like, that's the fucked up part of that. It's like, honestly, talent is actually, that's a whole other discussion of, like, talent is so hard
define.
Quantify, codify, whatever, where it's like, talent is kind of nothing without some level of hard work. And yeah, there is luck, but, like, the art being good is only, like, you have two hands and you have motor skills. You know, like, that part is the luck part, I guess. And you have the money or whatever to afford a computer. But, like, the real luck, in my opinion, the real luck-based art skill is, like, having connections and right time, right place, hitting on those popular trends, drawing something that that goes viral, getting that job interview, yada, yada, yada. That stuff that leads to actual, like, big, like I said, viral success or whatever. It's like, it is easier to do that than it ever was, and that does require a level of luck. Like, very few people are born with those kind of connections and skill in an art form to, like you kind of have to have a little bit of everything to be like, really successful.
And I honestly think that you can actually circumvent luck just by pure just dedication to it, because there's tons of guys out there who have worked night and day, giving up tons of things that would otherwise be a distraction to them, and they just hit the grind constantly, and then they were rewarded for it. And then, you know what, the sad thing is, some people have done that too and they weren't rewarded for it, but that's the luck part. That's
the thing. That's the reason. And more than anything, well, like, you shouldn't let that discourage you, but more so, you should use that to kind of inform your expectations. Where it's like, you shouldn't expect to be this popular. You shouldn't expect to, you shouldn't expect, like, how come, I don't know, Kawaii Debu or whatever, or Jito or whatever, you aren't owed that. You're not owed to be buddy-buddy with the best artists because your art is pretty good and I don't know. It's like, at no point are you owed anything crazy like that.
Though a lot of people would probably call us out, because I'm assuming that all three of us here do know Jito. That's different.
That is kind of funny. But I mean, again, it wasn't a luck thing. It was more like, I've been in this community for years, and I reached out to him. Yeah, I was already pretty decently popular when he showed up. So, if I was Joe Nobody, probably would not have replied to my message. I mean, I'm almost certain that that's the case.
Just gotta do the point. The main key for everybody is just do your shit, and things will come. Like, don't just start your DeviantArt account and expect, like, oh, why the fuck isn't actual Rose Red my best friend yet? Like, don't do that.
And that's the thing about if on that day Jito had ignored me, I'd simply say, oh, he seems like a pretty private guy, or he just didn't turn out, whatever. I move on. That's not the end of my world. It's like, whatever. It's like, I'm not owed connections or whatever. And like you said, it's just like, you kind of want to be doing this because you like drawing it and you want to genuinely improve. And success is one of those things where it's like, I've got another job. I don't need the money. It'd be nice if I get commission money. If I get this good, I can expect commissions. But it's like, you know, it takes steps. It's like there's no quick stop. And like, I guess it does look like luck when you factor in all the things that have to align and what you have to do. But it's like, it isn't just dumb luck. It's like, that just shows how much of a, I don't know.
No, that's just with the current. I hate to say current generation, but I do think a lot of people, they don't want to do the grind. That's what they're not getting. Is that there's
yeah, and I think on some level a lot of that comes from just the changing times, especially with art, where like we have the like. Man, and that's like going into like now I'm just like relying on my old art history lessons of like, you know, there was a time before the internet where art just was worth a little bit more between comics doing better and, you know, movie posters or whatever. And like, you had all these crazy fetishes that just weren't that popular back then in the 90s or whatever. So it's like you had to rely on these artists to get commissions. And you couldn't just pirate it like it's nothing, and you have to go to a convention to get it. And it's like now that like there's a million Chan boards, you can just request a good artist, and it's like, fuck you, there's another really good artist right over there. I can burn this bridge and beg for art over here. And it's like you're just not willing to work for anything. It's like I have digital art now, so it's like I assume this will make me magically good. That's like a whole nother thing. It's just like,
people.
Yeah, it's
So I can see how these people get created. I guess.
Right. I think the way I can describe talent is a unyielding interest for something you have a lot of passion for. Because, like, you can put the grind in, but if you don't have that drive or that interest in this thing that you enjoy, I don't think you'll be able to go really far. Which is why I think that's the best way to describe talent for me, in my opinion.
Well, okay, I'll say this. There's a level of which some talent is also your luck, because you could, you know, like I'm trying to have a really good example, but yeah, no, you're right. I think that level of interest is definitely part of the talent, where like you don't get bored of it, or you don't get tired of it, or you know, some people, you know, the other thing is some people just have ideas really quickly. Some people don't give up super easily. Like if you're super easily discouraged, your growth rate is going to suffer because of that. Like there are certain things like that just make it tougher. But you know, the luck-based things come in the form of like I have parents that encouraged my art, and you know, I have X amount of money, so I was able to get this good setup, and you know, so there are little things like that. But like, yeah, I don't know.
Beyond that, I think what a lot of people sort of think is just, oh, this person is good at art, therefore they were probably just born good at it. And that is furthest from the truth. I honestly don't think there's any artist in the community that just start off like good. I honestly have not, to this day, I've met quite a few people like in both the community of, you know, just fat art and just online artists. I don't think I've ever met an artist where just they were just good from like jump. I've never met a savant at this. I've met people who just worked tirelessly to get to the level that they're at, and that's what separates them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times they either have an established art background, they were doing it in private, or they just, you know, you were able to watch them just get better. And I've been around long enough that there are people where like back in 2011 or 2010, it's like their stuff was serviceable, but there was something really like their anatomy is just leveled up like crazy, or their perspective or whatever. And it's like, damn, it's like they're almost like a whole new artist. And that, again, that's taps into the jealousy thing. That's fucking cool to me. Like, yeah, it does sometimes, you know, if anything, it does drive me to want to keep working harder. But like, my first reaction is usually that's really fucking cool. Like, I don't know, just jumping to like, oh, lucky, jeez. Now you're gonna get Cheetos.
No, you're gonna get the favorites. You're gonna get into the cringe compilations.
Yeah, that's what's waiting at the end of the tunnel is like, you'll be in a fucking.
Yeah,
You'll be in Watch Mojo's first, like, weird top 10 weirdest fetishes.
Yeah, we'll be in like the 2-minute mark, or they fix it for like 2 seconds.
I would kill to be in a Watch Mojo.
No,
like,
you know what I would kill for? Like, do you know what I would kill for? I would like to be in a fetish countdown by Chills, the Burger King foot lettuce guy. What if he did like a countdown where he's like, number 15, Deviantart, that game, weight gain fetish art. The last thing you want on your Deviantart front page is. Come on,
the best thing is
that would be hilarious.
This page by this dude named Absolonanonymous. His anatomy honestly makes me want to fucking projectile vomit all over my screen. Like, if you ever seen this man, please beat him to death on the street with a bat and let me take
I'm just
photos.
I'm just imagining that guy's voice, but with like angry video game nerd style, like explicatives. So just like this one picture from Kreat-Like-Crete of a fat My Hero Academia character makes you want to puke snot out of my urethra. Like that kind of shit. Like just with that deadpan voice. Which, funny enough, Clint, when Absol and I first met, most people, like, their bonding experience, I already said that, like, our legit first thing we did together was do a trade and all that and just, go off from there. But, like, our first bonding experience as, like, people, not just artists, was we both recommended each other to Deviant Cringe to put into a compilation on YouTube. We never met, but that was our first like bonding experience, and we just started talking after that.
That
was our very first thing.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
We should try that again.
I remember that. Yeah, like, dude, we made it like this far. We already have 2,000 like subscribers. Like, you gotta put us in your video. Like, come on, think of the publicity,
dude. It's like
think of the exposure. We'd pay you an exposure,
we just go full circle at that point. we
just go back
the
to
exposers become the exposee. Wait, no, the exposees become the exposers.
Oh no, we've gone too deep.
Clint, has anyone ever tried to offer you exposure as payment instead of money?
Please tell me that.
Man, I'm 90% certain somebody has, but yeah, like the fact that I did go to art college, that's something that that's like Artist 101, where if you take an art class on any higher level that isn't high school or whatever, they're just like, never do anything for free, never do anything for free, and so it's like, yeah, I've definitely had a couple of those. Not as much with fetish. I mean, you know what? No, I take that back. I have had it with fetish art, but I'm just so numb to it at this point. It's usually just like, come on, can't you do a free request? Or like, I'm gonna be putting it in my journal, and I'm like, no. Like, I'll put it on my. And okay, what the thing about it's free exposure? It's almost always people who either have followers I don't give a shit about or aren't actually more popular than I am. I've had a couple times where someone's like, can I add this thing to my book or some bullshit and it's like not without paying me or something. Like, no, it's just like, I can't remember what it is offhand.
See, yeah, that's where the weirdness would come in for me. Like, the funniest thing is that the people who generally say like, oh yeah, it's exposure, they're generally smaller than you. Where I would assume,
very rarely,
especially for someone like on your level, because like on my level it'd be believable, or me and Absalon, but like when it's one of the bigger guys on the site, and then you say, yeah, I'm just trying to get you exposure, I'm pretty sure you just posting it yourself will be more exposure than their 12 watchers. Where they're just trying to like coax you into giving them a freebie.
Yeah, it's
I think I've gotten a thing where someone was like, I want to put this piece of art you did on a t-shirt, and I know there are like people, like I've had friends where that happened to them behind their back. So it's like, well, that's not as bad, but yeah.
I just don't get that.
It's gotten to a point, what's crazy to me is like, and shout outs to anybody who'd listen and was one of those people. I have had like my own fans report people trying to steal my art, and I'm always like, oh, I didn't even know that happened. Thanks, that's awesome. But it's just like this site or whatever was using your art, and I told them to take it down, and I was like, damn, that's awesome.
There was that's really cool that you have fans who are willing to do that.
I can't remember offhand, but it's happened a couple of times where it's like, I think it was like eHentai or something like that, or a couple other sites or something. Was just
I remember, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was talking over you, man. I'm sorry.
No, we're good. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I remember this one time, I can't remember who did it, but they like mentioned me when some guy was tracing my art, so I can't remember who it was, because it was like a really long time ago, but whoever did that, thanks. Shoutouts to you, whoever you are, from like 2 years ago.
Someone. There was one time where my stuff was uploaded to eHentai without my permission, even though nowadays I really couldn't give a shit because I hate the thing that was posted there anyway, and I would love to distance myself from it. But back when I first started, and that was like my claim to fame, it was this stupid, shitty Undertale comic that never deserves to have ever been made. And someone uploaded like the whole thing without crediting me at all, or asking my permission. And I even posted a comment and reported it on there, which did fuck all. But I posted a comment on. I said, "Hey, original artist here. Thanks for asking me to put it up." And I got downvoted. Like I had like 107 downvotes or some shit to that. Like people really didn't like that I was saying, "Hey, ask me for permission." They're like, "Oh, fuck this guy. Oh, he wants credit for something he did. What a motherfucker!" Like, I don't like. So I'm thinking like I'm the guy who got stolen from.
It's like, yeah, but I don't know. It's
pretty much.
You know, it's like I don't know. There's that level of like, I don't know. It's like because it isn't like. It's weird, and you know, again, if I'm being honest, not being honest, but like, I want to assume that person's not very old, because it's like, because it's like if you're an adult, it's like you're either doing that out of spite or you just don't know how this shit works, or it's just like why, from a logical sense, it's like why wouldn't he thank somebody for like of course, like I don't know what you're down there for.
Just.
It's because they have the case of hungry penis.
I've never heard it described that way. Thank you. And I would
You're
never
welcome.
hear hungry penis.
Well, there you go. You said it again. Anyways, it's just people. They just want to whack it, right? It doesn't. They don't care how they get it. They just want it. And I'm not really for piracy. Not really for it when it comes to.
I got a whole side thing with that.
Person. Yeah.
Before you go, Clint, there was one instance where I actually found out that someone was stealing my art, but the thing was, on Deviantart, they just straight up re-uploaded some of my pictures. I just said, dude, what the fuck is this? Why are you re-uploading my pictures that you didn't make? And he literally said, like, oh, just to expose you more. I said, then why not just point people towards me? You don't have to upload it, you doof. And
yeah, I mean, you're clearly just doing it because they want.
But the thing is, like,
they want something.
I don't. Why? I just can't put myself in the headspace of I want to steal this person's art who is way bigger than me. For someone who has like.
Because
I just don't get like the headspace of stealing something like that.
I've tried to make sense out of it. I've because some of them really do try to come off as innocent, and it's like a level of which they just don't get it. And sometimes I think it might. I don't know. It's really hard to understand.
I'd love to hear somebody try and give me, a legitimate reason, because it reminds me of those videos of people, who like try and steal stuff from stores, but then for some reason, there's just a part of them, even when they're caught red-handed and on video, they're just adamant that the thing they're stealing belongs to them. It's this weird double down philosophy, reflex that the brain has, where it's in trouble. So it's just like, no, this is mine. It belongs to me, even though they are legitimately stealing it. Like, I honestly should read up on that, like the psychology of stealing, because that's just it blows my mind. Yeah, it blows my mind that someone can just sit there, and think, yeah, this thing that I didn't make, I made this. Like, how do you get from point A to point B with that? That's always been the conundrum, and I've never gotten a legitimate answer out of it. Probably because I have a functioning brain.
Yeah, it doesn't really make any sense.
Calling out people.
It is a pretty fair. It's honestly not even a call out. It's like, that's such a small minority of people too. Of like, I'm stealing somebody's art and calling it my own, and when they get caught, I say, "I'm just giving you exposure. I just really love."
Or they try and say, "Yeah, I made this," when you are the person who made it.
I almost never get I made this. Well, the two that I've gotten were, well, I just traced it. Yeah, I'm still learning. It's like it's not identical. So is it really tracing? Is it really stealing? If I just
they're trying to play the Jedi mind trick on you. It's like, oh, I didn't re-upload it. I traced over it as a
no, dude. I've had people who've literally traced my art. It's just like a shitty version of my picture, and they change the hair color. But it's like so obviously traced to a degree where the comment section is filled with people calling them out, and I will say something. I'll be like, "You just traced this." And it's just like, and they'll be like, "No, I didn't." And I'm just like, I mean, you can admit it. Like,
stop playing yourself.
I'm not even fussed by
yourself in there.
I'm not even fussed with tracers. It's really mostly people who are just outright stealing the pic. But like, because there was a period where I went after tracers because it was just baffling to me that they wouldn't, on the same website, they wouldn't tag me and just be like, "Oh, I was inspired." Like, you can at least pretend you were trying to learn, but you're not. The fact that you're hiding it is like obvious that you just want to, I don't know, you want to get faves and clicks.
And you're just too lazy to actually get good yourself. Just,
yeah.
I just don't get it. I don't get it. I might call this episode "The Art of Stealing."
The Art of Stealing.
It's not a bad title.
Or the art of stealing fat art or something. The art of tracing.
The art of farting.
Though I have
no, never mind. No scat.
Yeah, please no. That's a no. It's a no-go zone, bro.
We're looking at you, man. We know you.
Clint.
Farts are not scat. I will defend the fart.
It's the precursor. It's the warning smoke. It's the signal flare.
It's the smoking gun.
Foghorn.
It's the foghorn. It's like the air raid signal before the napalm strike.
Oh my lord. In all honesty, I can't say that I've had any people trace my art. At least not that I know of. And it's like, I kind of like feel
a little left out.
Sad, right? Yeah, a little left out. Is like, why can't I be part of the drama?
There it is. Like, and I'm not gonna clown on you, but like, that's a whole nother thing of like, man, I wish I was one of the popular artists so people could treat me like shit and steal my stuff and make threads about me on 4chan and say my art isn't even that good. And I'm over here like, what? Like, that one meme with the question marks, the guy is just like, what? I'm just like, no, you can't be jealous of this. It's like, I guess any press is press. I guess. Because there was a period where, like, one of my friends, you know, and I'm going to shout him out because he does this a lot. And and this is in good fun. You guys know, was it the artist formerly known as Grim Coon? Because he doesn't go by that anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys know who I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah, we know who you're talking about.
He's a good friend of mine. But there was a period where he was like, man, they don't have 4chan threads about me. And I'm like, why do you want that? Like, there was a period where it was just like, I would get shit where it's like, oh, TAD does this or TAD does that. He's shit. Why is he so... How dare he charge money for anything? And, like, yada, yada, yada. And then, like, 2 posts later, it would always be, yeah, but does anybody have, like, an upload of his stuff? Like that's... It's always that. It's always
Yo,
that.
this guy fucking sucks. I hate his art. I hate his face. But
my sad wiener needs to cry.
Like you audibly.
There's a whole thread about pirating stuff, and then they'll be like, "I wasn't worth the money. I'm glad I got it."
Yeah, all right, motherfucker.
All right, it's like. And so, my friend over here is just like, I kind of wish I had one of those threads.
There is, and it's another big, and it's weird that we're talking a lot about psychological things in the art community, but that's just one of those things where it's this weird, I remember Hey Arthur, of all fucking shows, did an episode of, like, where it was, there was, like, a fire alarm.
Wait a minute! No, I have to stop you.
No, not Hey Arthur, it was
Arnold?
Arthur, fuck.
Or was
it was Arthur,
Arthur? They did the fusion dance really quick. I was like, hey, Arthur.
The football artwork. Someone draw that.
Can't see that now.
I'll fucking do it, baby. But, hey, Arthur.
Hey, Arthur. Oh my god. Yo, Arthur. No, it's gotta be called Yo, Arthur.
No, but the hey
okay,
part's
but
important to make it.
On Arthur, there was an episode where Buster, he missed out on like a fire alarms or like a fire scare at the school or something, and then the entire episode he was kind of like jealous that he didn't get to be a part of the tragedy. I remember that, or like the event, you know, there was some like weird you missed out on something, you know.
Yeah, that social aspect I get. Like I said, I'm not entirely numb to it, but it's like, from the outside looking in, it's one of those grass is greener things where, like, I'm at a point where I ignore those threads when they happen, because I know anybody worth a damn, and you know, there are good critiques on and on boards, but if that person actually wanted you to get better, they'd be leaving those
or directly
comments
noting you.
Can see it, and it's like, I'm not really going to go out of my way to go to a thread like that if you're just going to be posting shit and talking shit. Like, I could, but it's like, generally speaking, I'm at a point now where it's like, I just don't even go to those places, because it's like, it's mostly just, here's what I wish he would do. And it's not like a real critique. It's very rarely a real critique. So to me, it's kind of just like, whatever. I just kind of roll my eyes down. But like I said, I have my friends over there like, man, I think my stuff's pretty good. I've gotten really good, Clint. How come I don't have a hate thread on 4chan? Like, dead ass. I'm just like, what? I don't know.
Like,
if you can relate, let me hear it.
I guess I can sort of relate, where part of me is at least semi-curious whenever I hear or see like other friends of mine, you know, talk about like when they're talking about you know, BBW Chan or any of those Chan boards where they'll like show that their art is being featured, and I'm generally curious, like, oh, is there any of mine there? But then I remember that I hate BBW Chan, and I think it's like just a horrible place. I don't like any of the discussions that go on there. I don't like the people that go on there. I don't like their attitude. Just, I personally see as it's just a worthless
entitled
source of getting respect or getting any kind of clout in, because those people there,
that's
they
exactly
don't treat you, you know, like normally. I guess they just treat you they treat you, as we've said before, just some faceless schmuck who just cranks out the wank, as you like to say. You know?
Yeah,
and I
basically.
I don't like supporting that kind of environment because I just think it's very telling, I guess, because this is also funny coming from a guy who used to pirate a lot of stuff when he was younger. Like, I pirated a bunch of shit. I never pirated video games, I just pirated movies and music. But I've since stopped doing that because as I've gotten older, I realized the value of the work that some people put into things. And doubly so for a community like art, where this isn't a big company that you're stealing from that can, it can manage a couple, like, just a couple thousand people stealing their shit. Like, those companies are not going to be crying over, a little bit of that. So I lost no sleep over that. But stealing from people, like these individual people, I see the fucking Hey Arthur.
Yeah, not even a small indie company.
Like
individual people who are just doing this stuff for maybe a couple $100 at most, if they're like, Patreon. The heavy hitters are making more than that, but like nothing. It's chump change compared to pretty much any other media.
I just hate the entitlement that comes from it because, like you said, some of these guys are making. I would assume even some of the biggest guys, like I know Axel. To bring him up again, I think I checked his Patreon last time. I think he's at $1,500. That's like he is like one of I think arguably the biggest guy on Deviantart. I want to say, if not one of them. He's just.
Yeah, I mean he dips his hands in a lot of buckets, which that is one of the things where it's like on one hand it's like I'm sure I'm almost certain he gets a lot of like. I kind of wish you'd only draw fat art. Can you please stop drawing inflation?
No.
It's like, I think that's actually why he takes a hands-off approach.
So who are we talking about?
I was just saying with the, what is it, the people, like, why I hate specifically BBW Chan or any of those other ones that we talked about with Bamboo Ale last time, where I just think it's such a deplorable thing that some people will just like steal from individuals. These are individual people who are just trying to make ends meet, and even some of the biggest guys. And I was going to use Axel as a example. Like Axel, I think I checked his Patreon. He was only making like $1,500 a month, which is still like that's not really that much money. Then in fact, that's like no money at all.
No, it's not. I mean, obviously he's doing other stuff, but it's like. In the grand scheme of things, that is not very much. And it's like who are you? And it's not like, okay, here's the other thing. There is more nuance to it than that. I actually don't even get that bent out of shape about pirating. It's because I've done it, and I people do justify it with like, I only make this amount of money. I can't afford to spend it on this other stuff, but I really want to see it. And when I will have time, there's all these things. Yeah. I'm not getting into any of that. But the thing I hate, the thing that gets under my skin is that entitlement, that combination of entitlement and... Laziness? I don't know, like... No, entitlement and wannabe clout. That kind of like, hey man, I saved up my lunch money and I got 5 of the image packs and I got a bunch of Patreon content. I'm gonna post it because I'm such a Chad. And I'm like, are you really a Chad? Like, you're just... You're enough of a bitch to buy this stuff, and now you're gonna share it with a bunch of anons. What is, like... People and it's not even, like, a lot of times it's usually not 4chan, it's like BBW-chan, and it's like... What legacy do you have there? Like, what does that clout mean? But again, I guess if you're... in that smaller circle, it's enough. I don't know. I don't know what to... I can't really understand that.
Personally, I would feel horribly wrong, pirating off or, just spamming Patreon art that people really want to make specifically so that they would give people incentive to actually buy it. I'm all for that. And I know that's been a subject of multiple debates and arguments about, but Yeah, I just don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate that for the people, and I assume they don't either. But it's a topic that really can't be divulged into. It's just something that is. That's just the way it is, sadly.
All right, I see
it.
Horrible abomination.
I see. Hey, Arthur.
Oh no. This is
It's gonna haunt me. Maybe you'll end up on my Twitter.
You gotta write nightmare on
nightmare.
Like in bold.
I think it's obvious.
Nightmare.
It's obvious that it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna get to was just like, we were talking about the clout and just like what it's like to have one of those threads where it's like, again, I'm just kind of numb to it, and I took a look. A lot of it's perspective, a lot of it's vocal minority, and doing like getting paid for your stuff is just kind of like, I make this amount of money off my art, and I know this many cool people. Again, not a brag, but it kind of just puts it into perspective where it's like, who are these random people like fucking Fatty Anon 2? They don't matter, and that's not like I'm better than you. It's more like this person literally has nothing over you. They're just whining in the corner, begging for your art, and then talking shit because I don't know. They're upset. They've got nothing better to do. They're upset that you're popular, and they also want you to. They want you for free. They want you for free, and it upsets them. I really, it's like, it's so weird. And so it's like, I honestly, it's like, I get it. I get why you might want some of it, just because it does kind of. There is a level of which, wow, I'm this popular that people are shit talking to me. What is that saying? It's like you got to be doing something right if someone's like talking shit. But honestly, when you put it in perspective, it just doesn't really mean anything. It's like, I understand how big YouTubers deal with it now, where it's just like, I don't even bother with the comment. A lot of them don't bother with their comment sections. Not really.
It's the same shit.
In the grand
it's always the same shit every time. Cute, fat, sexy, looks nice. Can I touch her?
Yep, that's the other thing. It's like, I do like getting comments, but certain comments just don't mean anything because they are very shallow. And I did have a point. I had a point where I was kind of like legitimately bummed out that I don't get a ton of interesting comments sometimes, but that kind of just made me go back and say like, maybe I just need to be doing other stuff, or that's like a whole nother thing. But I don't know. It's just you got to be doing this because you like doing it. And that's like ultimately the thing.
That's what it all boils down to at the end of the day. Like that's for our buddy who we've told many times that this isn't a numbers game. If you treat it like one, then you'll never be happy ever. Because you can't control that.
No,
and
that's
human beings don't like things they can't control, and that is absolutely one of them. And it's just a.
Art is all luck.
Okay, South Park is more popular than Akira. Family Guy is more popular than your favorite animated movie. The best drawn comic in the world probably is less popular than fucking, what is it? The Simpsons. Yeah, Simpsons. Yeah, the 30th.
Oh my god, that's soul crushing.
But yeah,
that's
if you really want
crushing. Not even the good Simpsons, which is kind of.
I mean, there's the pure evidence for it. It's like, and you're all like, oh yeah, art's all luck based and my pee-pee small. Like, yeah, well, you want actual unfairness? Look at the people who spent literal hours for nothing, or the one guy who made the Thief and the Cobbler. What's his name?
Oh jeez.
Yeah, and like he spent 27 years making that movie, and then he didn't even finish it.
Yeah, that's what really sucks. The tragedy is not that he didn't make a ton of money off of it. It's more that like the version that hit theaters. Yeah, exactly.
The Thief and the
What
Cobbler.
movie is this again?
The Thief and the Cobbler. It's an animated movie from the 90s. And
Never heard of it.
it had basically they were working on it. They were working on this shit since like the 70s, like
Oh
a
my God.
long ass time. And yeah, like Vincent Price was still alive when that was happening. You know, the guy that's like the narrator in the Thriller, and like he's in a bunch of other stuff. But like he was the villain in that movie, and he recorded that in the 80s or like the 80s. I think he died in the 80s. He recorded it in the 80s, and the movie didn't come out until after that actor had died. Like that's how long it took to make that movie. And the version of it that hit theaters was this overly edited version. And the movie Aladdin was created, conceived, slightly ripped it off, and had been released. So by the time The Thief and the Cobbler, again, movie that it started in the 70s, like being announced and animated, by the time it came out, people were like, oh, it's just an Aladdin ripoff. And it's just like... And it's kind of more interesting than Aladdin on a visual level in like a lot of ways. Not to dog on Aladdin, I still love that movie, honestly. But you know, it just that sucks.
Dude, not even
that's
that,
a shitty story.
I know that you said it was well animated. Like it is trippy animation, but it's also some of the smoothest 2D animation you'll ever see in your life. Like there are some scenes where.
Yeah, no, I've seen the raw cut. I think I saw the original.
It's the
theaters,
recobbled version
really
where
cool.
I think some fans actually like. I think they actually took it upon themselves to like a lot of animators who were huge fans of the thing actually helped to finish it, and then they made a version of it.
It's like the closest we'll get. There's still a few bits that are basically animatics, but it's like it's the closest we're ever gonna get to like a near perfect version.
Which is just so sad because it has some of the trippiest inventive animation I've ever seen put to film. And, if you want a real tragedy of art being luck-based, look at that shit. Look up that and then cry.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. There is actually some merit in that statement, but this person is like only really scratching the surface of like, I don't have the cool... I'm not friends with the American dream. I'm
not friends with the biggest guys where I could just swing my dick around and make fun of smaller people. Like that's what I essentially think that most of those people who complain about not being big, that's all they want to do. They just want to shit on people smaller than them. That's literally it because they don't like being the small one. I honestly think that's what they'd want to do.
I mean,
complex thing.
There's that. I do know that there are people who are just genuinely like, I'm into this niche thing. And there's I'm sure there's a level, and like, this is me digging deep and kind of like taking the other side for a split second. It's like you feel special when you find out there's a whole community for this stuff, and then you find out, oh, I'm not even popular in this niche nerd fetish. Like it's like I don't know. It's like this weird. It's like people get this weird complex because it's like you think that like you get into this really weird niche thing, and that there isn't going to be cliques and hierarchies and you know, I don't know. And that's like it's like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. You're not entitled. Like I said, you're not entitled. You're not. Just because you like fat chicks and look it up on Google or DeviantArt doesn't mean you're entitled to free art or knowing all the popular artists. It's just
and the adult
silly
thing to do, you know, the mature thing to do, which is hard for some people, is if the person doesn't respond to you, either get better or just move on. Just say, oh well, I guess I can't be friends with them. All right, I'll just be friends with other people, and then, you know, make legitimate connections instead of just, you know, being a fucking fly circling shit and you know, just trying to suck everyone's dick every day. You know, just being like, oh wow, you're so good and the best, and I hope that we stay friends forever and ever.
And that's the other thing. It's like there's, you know, now that I think about it, it's like leave comments that aren't just.
God, I'm so glad that even at like a higher level, everyone's just fucking sick of those. It's just refreshing to hear.
I mean, how could I not? How could I not be? It's like, you know, I have like how many hot comments have I gotten? How many breads have you beaten in your lifetime?
Yo,
it's
I spent like 8 hours on this piece, and then some dude just comes with. Nice.
Yeah, okay. Can she be my girlfriend?
I got like a tweet like a couple days ago. It's like, the peak of evolution is just a nice comment, and then you upgrade it to
looks the nice.
the nice.
No, my favorite ones are.
That's right. Was that me trolling you about that the other day, Absalon? Where it was just like, if I hear "nice" one more time, and I was just like, "Nice." I know I brought it up.
No. I got like an actual tweet like with that. It was like the evolution, the peak of evolution is nice, and then it upgrades to looks the nice.
Dude, what was it? Fuck. I think I just lost my train of thought. Shoot. I was gonna say something. I'll get it back.
Go get it back.
Yeah. I was gonna say my favorite ones are the ones you try to like role play on the pictures, or like try to say like, "Could she be my girlfriend?"
Yes, I was just about to talk about that. Like, can I hug her? Excuse me, Mister. I shit you not. I've pretty much gotten this to exactly. Excuse me, Mr. The American Dream. Is she single? Is she single? And I'm just like, I'm not touching that with
fucking
a
drawing.
ball.
It's just like she's not real.
Double yikes.
Like,
okay, no, but like, think about the fictional. What am I? Like, am I her dad? Like, what are you doing? What are you like? You've already jumped out far enough that she's real. Like, I don't know if you're asking me to role play, and this is your innocent way of doing that, or if you legitimately need my permission to have weird thoughts about my drawing. I never thought of it
that way, and that makes it so much better. Like I never even put that level of thought into it, where it's like, what am I, your dad now? Or is this?
Yeah,
it's so bizarre.
It's like, well, if you ask very nicely, like, you know what? Now that I said that, if I get that comment again, and it's been a while, I think I will just give them one nugget of RP, in which I'll be like, well, son, if you save up your money, I'm sure you can take this fat lady out on the date. She's like boysenberry pie.
I was gonna say no.
And they'll be like, I don't have a job, I can't afford
I guess she's
for her. And I'm like, you're shit out of luck, son. Like,
I was gonna say, just do like fucking just be like, so long as you bring her home by 7 o'clock. It's like, I don't have a car. It's like, well, I guess you ain't gonna fuck her. Looks like you ain't got the nuts to hang with her, boy. Like the one time this guy commented on my on a picture of one of my mermaid characters, and Absalon remembers this. He was role playing with her, and it was one of those just.
No, he got his friend, and they were role playing together in the comments.
Oh, that's great. Where they just
here's the thing though, like at the minimum, I was expecting like they turn into like some dating love triangle or something where they like argue over her, and she's like, "Oh God, I don't know which one to choose." Oh, and then it becomes that. But no, it just turns into this idiot, and this idiot related to an idiot, just writing a character that doesn't belong to them and trying to think of like the personality, and then we all. Like me and Absalon, we sort of intervened. I even said like, dude, I thought I told you canonically she is married, and then Absalon's, and because it ended with him like the guy kissing my mermaid girl, who is half pufferfish, by the way. So pufferfish are very they're very poisonous. Yeah.
Get it.
Now I'm like, I need to know all the I need to know the lore. I don't know.
I'm not stalling for time. But
stall for time.
It's like, will you
stall for time?
Will you introduce?
Yeah, I'll introduce you. You can go on a date with her as long as you have the money.
This is what my luck-based skill was all about.
It was my OC. But yeah, she's poisonous. She's half pufferfish, and the dude was calling, or we said like. And then we found his body washed up on the beach a few minutes later because her poison is extremely toxic to humans. And then he just responded. And then he just responded with, "I'm a god." just the most.
Oh.
Like, yeah, like I'm a god.
Wow.
So it's just.
I mean, I guess if you've taken your like RP into this far.
Here's what I commented, because his last comment was, soon she swam off his bed, waved goodbye, hoping one day to meet her again. And then I wrote epilogue. Unfortunately, blank failed to realize that Cassandra, being a pufferfish mermaid, secreted deadly toxins that would send anybody under 3 meters of height into myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack. They found his cadaver smells like the Isle of Costa Rica with a stiffy.
And they just responded, "Funny, I'm a god."
So my psychiatrist, yeah, it was just really funny. He's like trying to justify it, but it was just like intervention to like sprinkle in. Is like, nah, dude.
Yeah.
Like, go to bed.
I just don't get that.
Yeah.
I don't get, like, where's the shame, of just, there
is none.
Being there and then, just publicly just faking something together, just where everyone can see it, I can't understand it, dude. I can't.
Yeah, it's weird.
Have you seen any other RPs on your stuff, even though like you were just saying, like any noteworthy ones?
Well, yeah, I normally just ignore it, and the big one was like, can I go on a date with her? Can I give her a hug? And I think I did, like, there was a time where I would like nonchalantly be like, there's a line, buddy, and I'd be like, oh, happily stand in line to kiss this man. It's like, alright.
Oh man, I can't believe that shit like that happens. That they're just like, oh, I will wait forever for this character that literally doesn't exist.
Yep.
Yeah.
They don't think it.
They don't think it'd be how it is, but it do. So any other fun tidbits of knowledge or happenings that
I had something, and I kind of lost what it was. I think it had something to do with like. Oh, go ahead, let's hear it.
Well, recently, we had the good old April Fools that came around, and you know what happens. I mean, people like to jest,
Yeah.
People like to jest each other. So did you see my journal? Where it was like free commissions.
No, but that is a cruel jest.
Yeah. So I gave an offer, or like something. I said, after all this time of debating, I've decided to do free commissions. And I got like hilarious. 60 notes, like a bunch of comments, like saying, "Is like, this is just for real? Is he really gonna do it? Oh my god, I'm literally shaking right now." And then there's like, I got like some random guy who coincidentally, I think I've heard that he's like big on 4chan. You know what I'm talking about. I was mentioning it in your server, Clint.
What was their name?
One dude, he gives me a comment where he sends me a note, and he's like, "Yo, he already gives me, like," he doesn't even ask like if it's a jest or not. He like straight out, like full flat out says, "I want this and this and this, and yeah." And then I said, "It's a prank, bro." And he's like, "Fuck you, man." And at first I thought he was like joking, right? Because he said like, "Fuck you." I thought it was like, "Fuck you, man," like in a playful way. And I said, "Yeah, get fucked." And he's like, and then he went off and he's like, "Yo, you're kind of a dick." And then he left a comment on my front page saying, "Yo, you're kind of..." No, he just like said like with
just scumbag.
Scumbag. Yeah, scumbag.
Wow.
He hit it later. But then I'm like, "Yo, were you actually like expecting like a free commission? It's like, it's April Fool's, man." And he's like, "Yo, it's like, I wanted to, I thought you could do good." And
really want it.
yeah, I was like, you could draw my feelings. And this is like, you know, why? Why did you think that was gonna be like a thing that was gonna happen? Like, did you honestly?
Some people just can't
believe that?
handle the idea that they won't be gifted whatever they want. Since I mean, it is a product of the time where there's just immediate, instant gratification.
Instant gratification, and the other thing is like digital content is like it can be hard to like say how much it's worth, and so some people will try to get away with whatever they can. But yeah,
because of how easy it can be distributed.
Yeah. So therefore, it's how much
there
it's
was
worth.
See, for my April Fool's joke, there's a comic that I started back in 2016 of an Undertale character.
Yeah.
And only got to 2 pages before I was just like, yeah, fuck it, I don't want to do this anymore. And to this day, people still ask me about, like, where's the 3rd page? Because there's only 2 pages, and it was literally right before, like, the good stuff started happening, like, where she started getting fat. And to this day, I have made a running joke that I will I keep teasing the idea that the 3rd page will come out. And this year, I even made, like, a fake preview image of, like, this really fat face of Temmie.
You're a villain.
You're
a villain!
It was even, like,
You're
I
a
even
villain!
posted as, like, the comic's name, page 3. And there was, like, a little stash link in the bottom. And I put, like, in the description, like, it was too big to upload. Normally, I had to put in the stash. And I did it. Yeah, and the stash. And in the stash was just all 8 pages of the first comic that I made, all like with low opacity, and they were all just posted over one another. So it was just this big mess of pictures. And it was just titled like "Gotcha." I got him good though. I put like just enough effort in to make it look like it was real, just enough. But that's the thing. You gotta hook him in. You can't just be like obvious prank. You have to get him. You have to just hook him just a little bit, and then they're like, I've been duped. I've been bamboozled.
Oh my god! But did you? You said you had something, TDA, Lint.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was when talking about the whole like I said, we've kind of gone off on a tangent, so now I'm just like between Hey Arthur and all these other things.
Yeah, yo Arthur.
Yo Arthur, my bad. I can't remember my own franchise that I've now created.
No, it was actually a Hey Arthur, but I just like
Yo Arthur.
Yo Arthur.
Every day when you're walking down the street, and you see the people you eat, and the nightmare is real.
Oh. Yo Arthur.
Stop.
And Buster's like a gangster in this one. He shot like 3 people.
Yeah.
There's an episode with an actual Birdman who commits suicide on screen instead of it being implied.
Yo, don't do it. And there's like a crossover with that one other cartoon that was kind of similar to Hey Arthur. It's not Hey Arthur. Like the one.
Oh, Franklin.
Oh, Franklin or whatever. Yeah.
They do an episode.
The deep Nickelodeon.
Like, it's Yo Arthur.
FRUNKLIN.
FRUNKLIN.
FRUNKLIN. The crossover episode, like there's like actual horrible things that happen. Franklin?
Let me draw Franklin
with a U.
We've all got to draw like we all have to like stop what we're doing to draw a shitty kids cartoon.
A shitty fake
OCs
kids
that don't
cartoon.
Exist.
Yeah.
Is that what I have to do to get popular? Draw shitty
No, you gotta
kids
draw.
cartoon characters.
Yeah, I guess you do.
Honestly, if you were just really good at memes, you probably could get
some of the people
popular artists. That's the thing. It's like you honestly just have to be interesting. You have to be interesting or thoughtful or like I don't know of any value beyond. Hi.
God
nice.
damn! Like I even saying it in even just saying it in jest, just the fuck. Just thinking about like no subject high is just. It ruins my afternoon. No, it isn't. It's the worst because it's just this person literally didn't even try. They're not even trying to be unique. They're just trying to like no icon, no interesting subject. Just like, hey, did you hear about that?
You can't have an icon.
Number in the name.
Oh yeah,
Don't
just
forget the number in the name.
hey, I like fatties 24559. It's just like, wow. I wonder what you're like. And then they normally try and say like, hey, can you like share one thing with them, and they're like saying like, hi, what's up, and it's like, so how's it going? And you just normally say,
yeah. In my naive days, I would actually talk back to them and I don't know, expect any semblance.
Because that just comes up to, so this one character, you see her? It's like, yeah, do you like her? Yeah, I like her. Could you draw her for me? Mm-mm. There it is. That's how I try and get you. It's like, oh, how you like my OC? Think they're really cool? And then you say like one positive thing, and like, yeah, you should. Yeah, you think you could draw her? It's like, no, unless you pay me. And they're like, I don't have
for free. Yeah, I was about to say I've done that before too, where I kind of, I don't know, pseudo troll advertise commissions where I'm just like, yeah, man, that's gonna be great, and he's like, yeah, so when are you gonna get started? And I'm like,
as soon as you pay me, bud,
for this commission. They're like, oh, I don't have any money. And then they literally disappear. They usually literally disappear when I bring money.
That's what is it?
Faster than Bumpy Bombshell before being nasty.
Dude, have you heard like some of the shit that that he tries to do? Like, he literally has this thing where he fucking. He tries like hypnotizing people, like on the internet, with like Clever Fox man. Shout out to Clever Fox man. He actually has asked to be on here, and I definitely would love to have him. But he made a journal about it, and he even showed off like the image of or the video, and just of himself watching it. And it's just flashing lights and saying, like, you will obey Plumpy Bombshell. Like, she is your god. All that shit. Like, you will become a slave to her. And it's like, what the fuck is this, dude? And it was just funny, because they're one of the more infuriating people to do it, because they just, if they don't get their way, they just kind of, like, go silent for, like, 3 months and then just appear thinking, like, nothing's changed. That, like, they're still, like, just as sneaky.
I remember getting a note from them. Yeah. I got a note from them once. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just had to interject. It's like this, like, I got a note. And it's like, there was no, like, text in the note. It was only the subject was said open.
Open Bob.
Like, open for what? No, it's like open for, like, open missions, open requests. Open the gateway to my heart.
Open your heart's gonna be alright.
Oh. Look,
that is a terrifying Frunklin.
Oh god, oh dear.
Now we have to think of another bizarre combo so that I can add to this nightmare tree.
Yeah, we gotta get the
Ah, man, like, well, but I'm saying they're also so infuriating because the motherfucker, the moment you mention that money is involved, they just immediately disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, I got a new
crossover.
Door
the drug smuggler. Like his name is Door.
Door. No, it
has
Dora.
Door now. Just Door.
Door
and
Door
sandals.
the drug smuggler. Yes.
No,
you gotta wear sandals.
No.
It's a crocodile.
Crocs.
It's a crocodile. Except the crocodile isn't sapient. It's just a real fucking crocodile. It sometimes attacks sandals.
It's Franklin.
Hey, it's Franklin. He's not gonna. It's like just this weird for the elderly version of Franklin.
It's so fucking scary.
You gotta hollow out the eyes and then like the big like pupils.
That's so fucking good.
It's Franklin. Gonna add him. Wait, I can't forget to add him.
That so we can like put him as a fucking like opaque thing over the picture, over like the thumbnail of the episode.
Yeah, he's licking his lips.
Hey, it's Franklin.
Don't let him come to my house.
Oh
I'm
man.
just like,
The only other like kids show I can think of is like Little Bear. That was one I used to watch when I was younger. Not the Berenstain Bears. It's literally just called Little Bear.
You mean the Berenstain Bears?
We're gonna get into the we're gonna get into parallel verse theory. People have legitimately wrote papers on it, thinking that it.
I've looked it up.
It's not just the Mandela effect. It's literally people thinking that, like, people swear by it. That was the Berenstain Bears.
I mean, it is, but it's one of the. It's like the one that's like taken. It's like the one that's grown a life of its own, and it's kind of hilarious.
I've updated the Franklin pic look.
Is that him as he's older? Is that when he's older? It's like
no, that's him. No, he's a kid.
Like no. Creepy...
No.
Oh, he's still a child.
He's still a child.
What he actually looks like. Or he's not drawn to look like a cutesy little kid's character. That's actually him licking his giant meth lips.
Yeah.
His veiny fucking lips.
He's got the munchies.
Give him like a single vein on his neck. There it is. There it is.
There you go.
You got to screenshot that. Screenshot that. I need that forever. It's wrong.
No, it's wrong. It's got the two little dots over the.
No, that's FRUNKLIN. It's FRUNKLIN.
It's FRUNKLIN. It's FRUNKLIN.
He's a monster. He's a
monster.
monster.
I'm gonna save this. He's
Oh no! Just like you just hear like, who's that? What the? Oh god! And
it's Franklin.
Yeah, you just hear from the raptors. And you just hear a little. You're like, you're a fucking Taurus. How do you move that fast? How do you move that fast? Tauruses are. He's at the walls.
He's at the wall.
It gets louder. It gets louder.
Stop making the sound.
There he goes. There he is. There he is. He's in the bottom there. I'm gonna make it its own.
You made him too large. It's Franklin.
It's Franklin. Franklin.
It's monstrous.
You've put too much love into this.
No, I do it all. Every time we. Yeah, I haven't put enough. Let me draw his hand. He's just gonna reach out to
with his single appendage. No, now I gotta draw something like horrible, just absolutely horrifying. Shit. Who else can we?
Yeah, this is the new theme of this episode. Is just
because we already did Hey Arthur, and now we have FRUNKLIN. Do you still want me to do Dora the Explorer?
You gotta.
See, I feel like the other one's like organically.
Yeah, we can't force it.
Shit. You can't force this.
Shit, you're right. And this might end before that.
You've got to be inspired. Right. You need a corrupted mind.
Like mine, look at him.
His single crinkly ET finger.
Now it does feel like it has to evolve. Like FRUNKLIN is more horrifying than Yo Arthur, Hey Arthur. So the next thing has to be you've got to find a way to top this.
Give him like a very. I was about to give him a very prominent elbow.
Actually,
that's how you know he's
just the knife elbow, where like if you scrape by him, you're gonna like rip out your intestines with it. It's all crackly. Yeah. Has no lotion.
And he also, no, he's also got the
bingo wings, like, as they're called. Flap.
Yeah, I mean on a fat lady those are great, but
not on a FRUNKLIN.
This is horror.
How long has it been since he's bathed without his shell?
Which is a horrifying concept if you think about it. Like,
who said he ever bathed?
That was when he was a child. He was a child for only a few short minutes.
Did you not hear him say he's still a child? You're judging him and calling him. He's still just.
He may have the body of a child, but he has the mind of a man.
He has the mind of a 60-year-old
when he fucked his first prostitute. That's what changed him. He couldn't resist the taste anymore.
See, now you're saying FRUNKLIN doesn't. FRUNKLIN fucks. FRUNKLIN fucks.
He pays them in expired Subway gift cards.
Oh, no. Bleeding a little bit.
You're making it worse. It's getting scarier.
What if I
the moles and everything.
Like, darkens.
Give him like a yeah. Oh, no.
There we go.
He's actually scary now. He is actually scary.
Oh, he's got the glint. It's perfect.
No, actually, what if we just made him like fish, had like both eyes on it, do like a full Picasso, both eyes are on the same side of it?
That sounds horrible. This sounds.
Now I'm just like, you got to make this your avatar for like the next 2 months.
There he goes.
God.
Oh my god! Look at this thing.
That's on the fridge, dude. That is absolutely on the fridge. How does this skull work? This just...
Yo, when Lovecraft was coming up...
Oh my god, dude, no, the scariest part is thinking that he has 2 eyes on the other side of his head. Like, it's not that they just switch sides, it's just he literally has 4 eyes. No.
No, he only has them on one side of his head, so
he's easy to sneak up on.
Doesn't have it. No. He's not. He can revolve his neck through him.
Oh my fucking god!
He's a fucking owl.
Full circle.
Like you'll like be walking side of the face that is on it, and then just like full like 180 like turn like.
I want nothing to do with this anymore.
There he is.
He's grown too powerful, I'm afraid.
Too bad. I'm gonna make him get the
just
oh my god.
That's creepypasta FRUNKLIN.
Good lord.
There's a difference now.
There he goes.
Come into my house.
I want it on this.
You'll have to come into my house because I'm in your
I don't know, it's like, yeah,
the
you
flesh
gotta...
is valuable, young one. Fear the old blood.
It's perfect.
Fear the old blood.
No.
He's only 12, but he's done. He's taken enough drugs to tranquilize a moose. Today. He ate a car once with a fork.
He like full out like wrestled a moose and like.
No, he intimidated the moose so much it couldn't move, and then he just slowly strangled it to death. He just walked up to it. It's one of those things where it's like the DDD pose and the ones that Senor Palo Smash thing. You know, I just hold his hand out and everyone turns to dust. That's just what he does.
Right.
Except he just opens his eyes. They just like crack open.
Yeah.
It's just everyone just, you know, turns into stone.
Crinkle.
This is a terrifying demon of misfortune that you've brought upon the world.
Yeah. This is gonna be my Deviantart ID.
I'm glad that we could create this.
Perfect.
That we could bring this into the world.
Eldritch Horror, Frunklin. I keep on saying Frunklin, it's actually Frunklin.
I think Frunklin. Frunklin just has that more... Yeah.
I'm about to say, it's been Frunklin.
It just has that gritty, like...
Lore.
Just offness to it that I don't think Frunklin gives to it. Just gotta erase the
change it back to Frunklin. I gotta make sure he doesn't notice. He'll get mad if he knows that I'm changing stuff.
Frunklin will remember that. Frunklin remembers.
Frunklin knows.
It's like a Telltale game series.
Frunklin and his signing.
He grows on the inside of the shell, but he can't. He only grew so much.
Yeah.
That's why he smells so bad all the time. He doesn't want to take his shell off and reveal his brother's corpse. So he carries it around with him as a sentiment to a life he wish he had. What, a life of being in a cage? No, being dead.
Normalcy.
Oh my god.
There you go.
He looks like a creepypasta character.
This is literally the culmination of the entire podcast nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
We're
feel
putting
like
so much effort into this.
Is the episode going to be renamed Yo Frunklin?
I actually wanted to call it like the thief and the. I originally did want to call it like the thief and the dreamer, but I think we can call it Yo Frunklin. just to adhere to the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. Just a kid. It's Frunklin. It's just so childishly you said that. You're just like, hey, it's Frunklin. Hey man, what's up? He's been a part of the group since we got here. Remember Frunklin? And you just hear like that sinister, like, yeah, you just hear like that high pitched, like violin, just as it zooms in slowly.
No, it's just like really loud.
Oh yeah, it's like the.
Like there's like. Adam ear on his neck.
How does he hear? He's fucking. Is he fucking? What's his name? Everything. Rolf from Ed and Eddie. Because his neck is on his ears are on his neck. Well, unless there's nothing else, I think it's about time to wrap this up, guys.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Thank you for coming on.
Gaffs.
We appreciate it.
Well, we hope to bring you back sometime, and I'm glad to hear you had some fun. Well, yeah. Thank you very much for coming out, Clinton. It was very nice to have you. Anything you want to say before we go?
It was a good time. They're gonna get the American Dream to come back again.
It's all luck-based. Well, speaking of which, well, that's gonna be it for today. I'm Kreat-Like-Crete.
I'm Absolonanonymous.
And remember, you want to say it again?
I'm not part of your outro. I don't.
Yeah, go ahead. There we go.
No, I was just gonna,
and remember, everybody, art is all luck-based. Bye-bye.
Bye.